Hi, Loss Adjusters, Mike Evans from the Australian Security Academy with this important third episode of the Australian Security Academy's Diploma of Loss Adjusting support program for those studying during lockdown in Melbourne. It was requested by a cohort of Diploma of Loss Adjusting students that we do this to support them while they had some downtime. Now, they had to cancel a lot of appointments and reschedule them for later on. So during this downtime, we're doing this support program. And today we're looking at really basic investigation stuff. It's basic, but it's important. We get paid to do what's not easy. If it was easy, we wouldn't get it. So we get paid to go and get answers to things in relation to claims, disputes, that sort of thing. And that's how we get paid for that kind of work. Now, one of the things we have to do in the course of our work, whether we want to do it or not, is locate witnesses. Now, this isn't locating missing people. It's not locating debtors. It's locating witnesses to an incident, accident, or occurrence who were there at the time. And during the course of that time while they were there and they saw what was going on, they gave information to the police or to other people there or to the ambulance or the fire brigade or the person who was injured that their name is Bluey and they're from Blackstump. Now, the claim goes ahead for whatever reason, and it can't progress until Bluey's interviewed about what he saw, because he was right parked at the lights at Blackstump when the two cars collided. So he'll have a good idea which car was at the red light and which car had the green light, because he was there looking straight at it. And he said to the person who was injured, look, I've really got to deliver this truckload of sheep to get sheared at the shearing shed. I've got to leave. So just call the Blackstump pub and ask for Bluey. Now, of course, the Blackstump pub's gone broken, it's closed down, so nobody knows where to start. So we get that instruction to locate that witness. That's our role. That's what happens as loss adjusters. G'day, Jamie. Good to see you, mate. And it happens to investigators as well. It's not the glamorous, complex medical negligence matter. It's not the super glamorous, headline-grabbing political scandal matter. It's our everyday, mundane, ordinary work that we do. I've never met a loss adjuster yet who isn't too big to do this type of work. And I've seen it firsthand, and I've seen it done very successfully. Now, back in the day, we didn't have the luxury of case management systems to assist us with our instructions and guide us with things in relation to how we had to go about things. We had to go actually physically into the office. And we'd go into the office every Friday with our reports, our statements, our photographs, our measurements, our little not to scale drawing of all the accident scenes, and we would put those in the box with our invoices and get paid. Then next to that box would be all the loss adjusters' allocated work for the next period of time. Now, one day I went in to do my work and to hand all that in and to collect my work for the week. There was no one else around. So I had a good chance to check out who's getting what work. And I looked at the first file and I picked it up. And that's what it was. It was a Matthew Jones witness locate. Okay, I've just done John Smith's witness locate and it was excruciating. It really was difficult to do. Sorry, John Smith, but it's a hard thing to locate a John Smith. If you're the first name in the phone directory or the last name in the phone directory, you're easy to find. But if you're not falling into that category, it's very difficult. Now, the witness locate involved a courier driver who saw a motor vehicle accident on the Doncaster Channel Highway and at the Freycinet National Park bypass, that intersection. So the person with this job has got to locate that Matthew Jones. There he is. That's what files for investigators and loss adjusters are called. They are named after the person that's involved about it. I thought, I'm not having that. I don't want to do that. What's this other one in this other guy's box over here? So I picked it up and I looked at that, and it said Gary and Gail and Ebony, inappropriate conduct, internal dispute resolution. I thought, all righty, I'll have a look at this one. So I opened it up, and it said the Chief Constable of Police, the Deputy Premier, the General Manager of Office Administration, Menage a Trois. I thought, that sounds French. Must be an entree, probably a food poisoning claim. So I swapped, and I gave the other loss adjuster, Matthew Jones, and I got the dispute resolution one. And then I had to sit down and start making my appointments for the next week in the office. The other loss adjuster came out, picked up his file. He's now got Matthew Jones. And it's 12:30 in the afternoon on Friday. And he has got to, back then, there's no computers, there's no internet, there's nothing like that. He has now got to find Matthew Jones by going through the white pages and contacting every Jones in the white pages. Now, there's only 34 pages of Joneses. He's lucky he's got some information. This guy's a courier driver who saw an accident at the Doncaster Highway and Freycinet bypass on the corner. So he's got that information. Now he has to contact all of those Joneses. This is a qualified loss adjuster, qualified lawyer, and licensed private investigator. Now, it's really important what I just told you. He wasn't too big to do this witness locate. It wasn't beneath his dignity to do it. He does scoliosis claims today. He does asbestosis claims today. He's done 1,000 fatal accident claims. On this day, back in the day, he had to do this witness locate. Now, you can hear him from where I was at 12:30, and he'd be dialing these numbers, looking at the white page, going, oh, Mrs. Jones, my name's Bobby from Freemasons Loss Adjusting. I'm trying to contact Matthew Jones, who's a courier driver and saw an accident, Doncaster Channel and Freycinet intersection. And he'd say that to people and they go, oh, you sound like such a nice boy, I can't help you, or I don't know any Matthews. And he'd say, you're not related to him, you haven't got any friends that might know him. And he's doing his best to politely and professionally speak to everyone. Now, he spoke to a lot of people during the course of that afternoon, and I listened to every single phone call he made. And he made quite a few phone calls. He never got bored. He never got short-tempered. He didn't get impatient. What we did back in those days was every 6 minutes you'd fill in your invoice form because it went in 6-minute increments in the hour, and he'd have a little break after every 6 minutes to make sure he filled his invoice in. And he'd keep going. He'd have the white pages there very professionally, very persistently. Mr. Jones, thank you for answering. My name's Robbo from Loss Adjusters, and I'm looking for a courier driver named Matthew Jones who may have seen this and I may have seen that. He's not a relative? No, you don't know him? No. Do you know anyone else that knows him? That's how it went. Let's have a look at the video, how it all went.
Here he actually is introducing Lisa Carson and myself at the Australian Insurance Law Association conference in Hobart. He's on the phone, he's going, Brown, can you tell me, are you related to them? Do you know where I could find John Brown?
A few moments later.
John Brown, he was a courier. He had an unmarked courier vehicle, Freycinet.
1 hour later.
Accident between Freycinet and Doncaster turnoff.
2 hours later.
John Brown, do you have anyone that would know him, any other relatives?
3 hours later.
Yeah, his name's John Brown. We're looking for John Brown, if you'd help me, please.
1 eternity later.
What, you know him? You know John Brown the Courier? That's it, we have a winner! And he loudly exclaimed, "I love my job as an investigator." And the whole office was there.
Not only a lawyer, not only a loss adjuster, not only a private investigator, but one of the nicest people in the industry in Australia. He did a really good job of that investigation, and he'll never see this video, so I don't care. He'll never know who landed him that job. I learned a lot about my job too. Wow. With my case. But anyway, moving right along, we don't do that today. Today we have a different system. Okay? So the system we have today is we have technology available to us. We have all sorts of things available to us to help us with locating witnesses. Previously, it was the white pages, and it was going out and knocking on doors. That's what we had to do. Now, before you even go out and knock on those doors, you can narrow down that field a little bit. So we brought Casey in to go through it with us. Here she is. Welcome to the program, Casey.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Good, thank you.
That's great. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I am a licensed private investigator and I specialize in open source intelligence investigations. So today I thought I would show you 3 really easy ways to search for people and locate witnesses online, because usually we get the odd statement from people where the person's moved, or they never gave the correct address, or it's their mother's address or something like that, and we need to find them. So, and this is where it's really important that we take good statements and that we take detailed statements. I often used to roll my eyes when I used to see a really detailed statement that said, a description of how, like, what they looked like, where they worked, what their job description was. And I'd be like, why are they putting all of that in there? And not until I did a witness locate that I was so grateful for the person that took that statement and took the time to put that extra information in. So we will go to my very first place that I go to when I'm looking for a person. So if you have their name, the first place I go to is actually ABN Lookup. So if you just type in ABN Lookup into Google, this will come up, and it's a free resource that we have in Australia. So you can search by Australian business number, Australian company number, or name. And so you can put the person's name in there, and it won't give you much information to start off with. For example, if you put in my name would come up, and it will say that I'm in Queensland, and it will give you a postcode, which is often a really good place to start. But often you can get more information than just a postcode, because there is a good number of Australians who do have an ABN. Even if they don't own their own business, they might have had to do a side job. Maybe they did some work for a mate somewhere and they had to register an ABN. A lot of Australians have ABNs, and a lot of Australians own businesses. So I've picked on John Smith, and I did a John Smith search. And I just did a John Smith Queensland search, and it brought up all of these John Smiths. And as you can see, it's got their ABN, it's got their postcode, and that they're in Queensland. And I clicked on one, and this is actually Alex John Smith. So middle names are really great if you can get them. And if you see under business names, he owns Prestige Signage. And when you click on that, it actually takes you to an ASIC registry, which has an address on it, which is amazing. You've got an address right there in just a couple of clicks. Now, the address isn't always there, and the address isn't always right. So a really great way when it comes to this is if you see, I'll bring that back up. If you see down the bottom, it says business names extract. And there's a $9 one, so current business name information, and the $17 one, which is current and historical business name information. I don't suggest paying straight up. This is when you've kind of exhausted all of your other areas, but I'll talk about it now while we're talking about ASIC, because you can get some fantastic information. So when I've exhausted all of my other possibilities, I do pay that $17 to see what I can find. And usually you can get some really good stuff, especially if people don't have a social media, or you can't find their social media, or you can't find their address in any other area. It's a really good way to find it. So recently I paid for an extract to find someone, and I've redacted a lot of the information, but I can show you what it looks like. I always pay for the $17 one because it gives you so much information. It shows you where the business used to be located, who the partners used to be, who the directors used to be. So it gives you a whole bunch of pivot points when finding your witness. So if you can contact someone that used to be a business partner, or see an address where the business used to be, this is all really good information for you. So this is what the extract looks like. So current and historical company extract. Now here you can see this gave me a heap of information that just wasn't on the non-paid ASIC page. So it gave me their name and the address where it used to be. So if I have an old address for someone, I could go, oh, okay, their business used to be here, and that matches their address used to be in this area, and the business also used to be in this area. So not only when you're looking for a witness online, you're constantly looking for information to verify their identity, because you might be looking at something and it might be the wrong John Smith. So you always have to be thinking about, you need to be able to verify that it's them. And this document was about 10 pages long and had heaps of information. But if you just see under office holders and other roles, it's got their name, address, and their date of birth, which was fantastic because this helped me confirm that this was the witness that I was after. And that's really what you want, because you don't want to go making 1,000 phone calls or doing 1,000,000 door knocks because you didn't just have a quick look at the date of birth. So it's a really great way to verify that it's the person that you're looking for. So that is the ABN ASIC lookup. That's definitely my first point of call. But of course, not everybody has a business, not everybody has an ABN. So my next point of call is usually social media or a Google search. And rather than just typing Casey Pine, for example, there's not that many Casey Pines around, but if you typed my name into Google, you would get over 8,000 hits. And we don't want to be sifting through 8,000 bits of information. So I'm going to teach you a really simple and really effective way to do what's called Google dorking. And this is going to seem like a foreign language to begin with, but a Google dorking is basically a fancy way of doing an advanced Google search. So you can type in Google dorking into Google and it will bring up a whole bunch of information of how to do advanced Google searches, which is really great when you're an investigator. So the one that we're going to look at today is site:/website.com and then the person's name. So I've got an example below, but don't worry, I'll run through it with you, of site, Facebook, Casey Pine. So I will just share my screen so I can show you live what it looks like. Google allow, here we go. Isn't technology fantastic? So we type in site. So usually my first point of call is LinkedIn. I like to be able to find people's LinkedIn profiles because it's easier to get into their inbox if they're on LinkedIn. So let's check LinkedIn. So we go linkedin.com and then we put Casey Pine in inverted commas. So as you can see, luckily there's not too many Casey Pines, so I came straight up as KCP. And the reason why we go to Google instead of going straight to LinkedIn and typing in Casey Pine is because you can see that Casey like the first one up the top, which is me, it says KCP. And I have my last name hidden from anybody that is not a direct contact of mine. So if you type in Casey Pine, I might not come up on your Google search. Sorry, not your Google search, your LinkedIn search. So if you search for Casey Pine in LinkedIn, I might not come up. So Google still indexes LinkedIn and indexes it a lot more heavily than what the LinkedIn search algorithms allow. So you'll be able to see things in the Google search that you won't on LinkedIn. And as you can see just underneath that it says it's brought up Casey Pine because it's got Casey Pine Marketing, which is me. So it's a fantastic way to really get in there quick. It also shows that there's 4 different Casey Pines. It shows that there's a Casey Pine that's got a golf interest or professional golf. And there's a post that I've been tagged in LinkedIn. And a book of mine. And so once it's exhausted all of the LinkedIn information for you, it starts to bring up things saying, okay, they're obviously looking for Casey Pine. Here's some other things. And so that's my book. That's me. That's me there. There's a picture of me. All of the Australian Security Academy videos that I've been on. It gives you so much information, heaps of pivot points for you to look at. Now, you can do this with any website at all. So you could do Pinterest, you could do Twitter, and again, I'll do a Facebook for you because this is something that I've found really helpful when it comes to Facebook searches. Because a lot of people, like myself, they don't necessarily have their full name on Facebook. So if you typed in Casey Pine on Facebook, you would not find me. I have tried to make it hard for people to find me on Facebook. So I am just CSYPY. And that's made it really difficult for people to find me on Facebook, but it's not impossible to find me. So we know that I don't play golf. None of these golf ones are me. No, so let's go to the second page. Nothing there, nothing there. Oh, but wait, here's something. The Australian Security Academy. So that's me. And obviously my name is in the description. And I clicked on this link and it brought up the video. And although it doesn't have any direct links to my Facebook account, my husband liked and commented on the video. So it's got Terry Pine, and that's another pivot point. So if you go to his Facebook, it says that he is married to CSYPY, and there's my Facebook. So you can contact me through Facebook really easily. So that's why we use Google Dorking instead of just going to Facebook and typing in Casey Pine, because you won't find me that way. And yeah, so you can also do it with Instagram, anything if you want to find the person that you're looking for. So it's a really good tool. And another really good tool, so say you found the person on Facebook and you would like to verify who that person is. I have my Facebook really locked down, so there's no information. So I'm going to use Mike's. Sorry, Mike, I'm going to dox you a bit on the internet here. But as you can see, Mike also doesn't show much information. His date of birth isn't there. So I can't really verify. Oh, look there, CSPY, I'm there. So his date of birth isn't there. But this is a really cool trick to verify that it's the right Michael Evans that I'm looking for. So if you go up to the 3 dots and you go search profile and you type in birthday, or you can type in happy birthday, try a few different words that people might say to Mike. And as you can see, Alex Evans has said to Michael Evans on the 15th of September 2019, happy birthday, Mikey. And hey, in the statement, it says that this Michael Evans that I'm looking for, his birthday is September 15. So even though it's not in his profile, it's in that search. So you can type anything you want into that search button, and it'll help you find information on them. It's really, really good. So it's a really fantastic way to verify who you're looking for. Okay, I will stop sharing my screen. So I hope you liked that. And if you need that, this Google Dorking, the site semicolon website with the name, if you need reminding of this, obviously just screenshot this and you'll have it. Otherwise, feel free to contact Mike or I, if you can find me. Now, another tip for finding witnesses is you actually have to, this isn't online, sorry, Mike, this is a little bit old-fashioned, but it works. I did this recently and it worked fantastically. This person had the information completely locked down on Facebook, and I couldn't add them as a friend, not that that's within the scope of what you're allowed to do. And I messaged them privately. But a lot of private messages, when you're not the person's friend on Facebook, it goes straight through to spam. And a lot of people don't check their spam because that's where all of the marriage proposals land from overseas. So no one really bothers checking it. So, and also you have to check with your the business that you work for and your policies and procedures in regards to messaging people on social media, including LinkedIn, because that is a social media. So before you find someone on social media and message them, make sure you check your policy and procedures there. But this way is a fantastic way, and it is using the Australian Electoral Commission e-roll. So you actually have to find your local Electoral Commission office, and when you go in there, there's just a little computer, and it's looks like it's 100 years old. It looks like it's on display of saying this is what computers used to look like, but it's not. It's actually the Australian e-roll. So you can go in there and type in people's name and find out their addresses. So an electronic copy of the current electoral roll is available for public inspection at any AEC office. There's no questions asked when you go in there. You just say you would like to check the e-roll. You're not allowed to take photos or anything. I got my phone out just to check the time, and the lady said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just checking the time." So no pictures. They're pretty strict about that. You're not allowed to video it either. So you can go in and easily type in someone's name and find an address from there. So the Australian Electoral Commission is updated regularly, and people often are confused. They're saying, "Oh, I didn't upload my new address to the Electoral Commission," but these days your license, often your new address, if you change your address for your license, it goes straight through to the Australian, I don't even know how to say it. I'm going to bring it up. Electoral Commission. There we go. Got there eventually. So that's a really, really great way to find people's addresses as well. So, and that's my 3 tips, Mike. I hope that's really helpful with locating witnesses.
Thanks, Casey. That was very helpful. And as you saw from the comments, fantastic, very interesting. This is very informative. People really like those tips. Now, with the place where you work, the loss adjusting firm where you work, they will subscribe to databases such as Detective Desk or Global Data Casper, and they're marketing databases. That's where you and I give up our information when we buy a ticket in the Sunshine Boys Home, win a house on the Gold Coast. As back 2 episodes ago, we showed you a lady who wanted to get one of those houses in one of our demonstrations for general insurance. So people do win those, but when you buy that ticket, it goes directly onto a marketing database, and you're giving up your information freely when you do that. And if you read the fine print in those things, they have it in the fine print as soon as you sign on the dotted line. And that's why they're ringing you up every day for the next 10 weeks afterwards as well. So they also have subscriptions to other different ways of doing searches. There's Ticker in New South Wales. there are ways of doing registration and unencumbered vehicle checks for each different state. I won't go into that because as soon as I say how to do it for one state, someone from another state will find out it doesn't work in their state, and then I get nasty emails. But there are ways of doing that. There's local council searches if they're available. There's land ownership searches. Most of those things are really mostly done for you by your office before you even start. So keep that in mind. Be very aware when you're contacting people who you've found. You're going to be very pleased with yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to be very, very pleased with yourself that you did it. But as a loss adjuster, I've had to contact people over a matter that happened 19 years before on 3 occasions. Now, I had to locate 2 of them because we didn't know where they were. I located them. Now, you imagine if their new wife or new husband answered the phone and an idiot like me is on the other end. Oh, I'm ringing up about the child that you ran over in Victoria. Your husband ran over in Victoria 19 years ago. Now, she probably wouldn't have married him if she knew that. It could cause all sorts of internal conflicts. So you've got to be very careful. You only speak to the witness. You don't speak to anyone else, right? If someone else answers the phone, you might say, well, why would they do that on the mobile phone? Well, people are busy, doing things and they leave their mobile phone there and other people will answer it. So you must be very, very cautious of your approach with that. That can have negative consequences. Now, each one of those people, as a loss adjuster I interviewed, remembered every detail of 19 years ago, because it's not every day you run over a 3 or 4-year-old child. And it's the first they've heard of it since, because the police spoke to the witnesses at the time and they said that kid ran to get the football, ran straight out in front of that guy's car. He was only doing 10 kilometres an hour and the police go, no charges, no problem. And then when they hit 21, they can sue the Victorian Transport Accident Commission and get compensation for that accident. And that's what happens. And that's what we have as files to go and investigate and locate those witnesses from such a long time ago. And trust me, people, if you run over a child, they remember every detail of that vehicle. They remember every detail of that day. And you're helping them to put that matter to bed, because if they lived in Victoria, they understand their car registration system and how the legal system works there. So that is really, really important. You keep that in mind, is the confidentiality after your success in finding that person. So your office will do its best to find them, but like I said, we get what's difficult. If it was easy to do, the insurance company will just do it themselves. Yeah. But they're quite happy to pay us to go and do it for them if it's that difficult one. Now we have a question. The pros and cons of Casper versus Detective Desk. Now, if you ask either one of them, they're the best thing since sliced bread. So my advice to you, okay, is find out for yourself. Both of them have periods of time where they drop the ball a little bit and then they pick it back up again. I've seen them both do that. And if you're paying $400 a month to be in one of those periods where they've dropped the ball, it's not very good if you're an individual operator. It's not so bad if you're a large diploma of loss adjusting firm turning over $10 million a year, but if you're a small individual operator, that's different. My advice to you is get on their website, read through it, send them an email and ask them, look, if I run with you, what am I going to get for my $400 a month or whatever? Then ask the other one, if I run with you, what am I going to get? So you're doing your research in a contemporary manner for yourself. Now, I don't push either one, right? But I do know from all the people I speak to, and I speak to a lot of people that use these things, sometimes they're really happy with them, other times they're less than happy with them. So
yeah, they're not always right. They don't always give you the information that you're looking for as well. Like learning how to do these things manually, just like a couple of things like I've just shown you, can give you often the same results. So these are very, they save you time, but they also cost a lot of money. So for individual operators, learning how to do a simple ABN search, Google Dorking, knowing how to search social media, doing it manually is just as effective.
It's a less expensive option for the person that's only getting 1 or 2 of them a month. But if you're an investigation agency or loss adjusting firm and you're getting 45, 50 a month, and that's
Definitely.
the sort of people that will invest heavily in this sort of thing. But
Mhm.
my best advice is, sometimes they'll have special offers where you can just have a one-off go for half a day or whatever. So always look out for that. They're marketing people. They'll market those to try and get you to sign up forever. So just keep aware of it. I know Casper have just recently added prison correctional facility data there. So that's something that they're thinking, and they're doing stuff to get a competitive advantage. But never be afraid to contact those people and ask them yourself before you commit to too much, because I think in the case of global data in particular, it's a 2-year sign up. So you're committed for a long time. Excuse me, if it's not going to work for you, but I use it and I'm quite happy with it. So I have other options to find people too. You'll see on various sites around the place, if you look around some of our Australian Security Academy Facebook groups and stuff, we have people that advertise in this one, and I've got another one, this one. There's a lady in here, she'll go and do the electoral roll searches for you. She's in the electoral office quite frequently, and I think she charges $12 a search or something like that, which means you don't have to go anywhere, and she'll find out if they are on the electoral roll. So if you look around and see what other options are available, she thrives on the hardest cases. She says it in there. Her name's Leslie. So if you go to that private investigator Facebook group, type in Leslie, right? Just as Casey just showed you. Okay, exactly how Casey just showed you, and she will do AEC searches for you. And look, she gets so into it, you'll probably get added value for what you're looking for. Casey, thank you for coming in. Really appreciate you coming in at very short notice.
You're welcome.
Today you saw the old-fashioned way, like the Go-Go Mobile ad on the Yellow Pages from 1991. How we used to have to do it. Casey showed you a whole range of different options on what to do. This video will be included in the search section of your loss adjusting course, and you'll be able to watch it. If you want to see the replay of this video, go to our YouTube channel. It'll be there tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. It'll be there, and you just hit replay, and it'll have a big 4 in front of it. So that's this one. It's the 4th one. I was wrong before. I said 3. It's 4. It's the 4th one we've done this week to support our loss adjusters. Tomorrow, Pat Flynn will be joining me, and we're going to be talking all about break-into steals, general insurance, burglaries, the issues around theft, that sort of thing. So when your claims come in for theft, burglaries, break-into steals, home arson, stolen motor vehicles, we're going right through that tomorrow, Pat and I can't tell you the time yet, but it'll come up on Facebook and in your stream tomorrow morning, because we've just got a few training appointments on, and we're doing this on the fly to help the loss adjusters through their program while they've got the chance to do that little bit of extra study down in Melbourne during the 4th lockdown. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Casey. See you next week, people.
Thanks, guys.